Most couples Most couples I talk to feel absolutely overwhelmed when it comes time to talking about the timeline. And for good reason. It's what happens when you try to fit way too much into a small time frame, with little to no room to allow for actual moments to happen. And when you do that, the entire day starts to feel stressed. You're no longer living it and having a good time. You're too worried about what's the next thing we need to get to, and are we still good on time? And then the entire day starts to feel rushed. A day that you're supposed to be having a good time, celebrating, and hanging out with your people all day now feels like just a giant pain in the ass. But then here's the thing that most people really don't understand is that your timeline isn't just a checklist of things to do throughout the day, right? Yes, it's very important. You know that you're gonna have X, Y, and Z things that are planned to do throughout the entire day, but it really is going to determine how the day is going to feel. More than just like moments are gonna feel. I mean, more like the stress that it might bring for the day, because you're trying to do so many things in a short period amount of time. You're gonna feel a little bit rushed. And it's not intentional, it's just what happens when you build a timeline that doesn't allow for that kind of breathing room. I really wish that sometimes couples were like, yeah, we're gonna do a 2-day wedding because there's just that much stuff we wanna do and enjoy doing it, as opposed to let's try to fit as much stuff as humanly possible into an 8-hour time frame and hope for the best. That just isn't really the case. So in lieu of just trying to jam-pack all these things together into one like awesome freaking day, there's a really just a much simpler way to go about doing that. That makes the timeline easier to plan, and it makes the day just feel 100% more relaxed. So usually the first things that I do when I'm working with a couple to figure out on their timeline of, okay, let's figure out how all this is gonna work, what does your day look like? You start with the things that you know are pretty much, they can't change, right? Depending on the venue, depending on where it is that you might be doing a ceremony in the morning, maybe it's at a church and it's off-site from the venue. There are certain times that are things that are gonna be locked in, right? Like, you know your ceremony is gonna start at 3. You know you're gonna have dinner at, let's say, 7. Things like that that can't really change all that much, and then you just kind of build backwards from there. So ideally, the first thing that I would start with is be like, okay, number one, when does your ceremony start? Okay, it starts at 3 o'clock. Great. Work backwards from there. It can be anything like the getting ready, your first look. If we're doing a first look day, most of the time, those days are a lot easier, by the way. That's another video for another time. Are we doing, all of your bridal party photos with the first look? Highly recommend. Are we doing, any family that's around at that time after the first look to kind of save on time? Highly recommend ×2. Things like that, and we just kind of go backwards. And then again, after that is done, we plan forward from what happens after the ceremony. Did we go ahead and do any photos beforehand after the first look, before the ceremony, that we can kind of slide off the plate after the ceremony and during your cocktail hour, because then that way you can have a lot more time to enjoy cocktail hour. So then once you get all of that stuff taken care of and you figured out, okay, what are we doing during cocktail hour? What happens after? Receptions are probably usually always kind of the same, structurally speaking. You're gonna have a grand entrance maybe, you're gonna have first dances, you're gonna have speeches, and then the partying and all that good kind of stuff. It kind of gets clustered together and like, this is reception. But once you have all that figured out, then you can kind of take it back and look at, like, okay, how much do I wanna enjoy each one of those moments that are gonna happen throughout the day? Because let's be honest, even though there are a lot of those things happening that are expected on your wedding day, a lot of the stuff that happens outside of that is really the stuff that is even almost more important, to be honest. And I say that because a lot of those interactions with you and your guests and people that are gonna be there aren't on the timeline. But the little details and the conversations and the moments that happen in between those, kind of like, think of them almost like transitions, are the stuff that really matters even almost more than anything that you could ever expect to happen on your wedding day. That is where key moments happen. And that's what I really like to show and document and show people, that is story that's happening on your wedding day, are those transitional kind of moments, not just what's on the timeline. The timeline is basically, think of it like pirate code, right? It's pirate code. It's a guideline at best. It's, hey, we plan on doing these activities at these points throughout the day, hopefully on time. But humanity happens, things happen, a vendor might show up late, Guests might show up late. Ask me about the time we had to wait 30 minutes for the bus to bring the guests to the ceremony because it broke down. Like, things just kind of happen. Not everything is always going to be perfect. Giving yourself that ample time is tremendously key when building your timeline. If you start doing that to your timeline, you're going to start seeing awfully quickly when you start to allow yourself to really enjoy the day and you give your time on the day room to breathe, you actually get to enjoy your day. You're not just feeling the pressure and the stress of doing the next thing, getting to the next thing, meeting with the next person, talking to X vendor, what do we have to do next, and all those good kind of things. And to be honest, it's actually why I stopped and got away from doing hourly kind of like experiences with my couples, because it feels like I'm just trying to constrain everything that they want into this tight time frame. Even at the end of those days when the couples had a great time and I'd follow up with them and I'd say, hey, so how did the day feel, as we're going back through the images and stuff, and they always ask, man, I wish I had more time. I wish that I got to just relax a little bit more and enjoy more of being there on the day, because it did feel rushed. And it's kind of a sad realization you have at the end, because you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know you're going to feel that way until it's too late. So the best thing you can do ahead of time is just have more time. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've actually started to do what I call a true full day wedding photography experience. It's no longer dictated by hours, like broken up hours, saying, okay, well, 8 looks like it's good for you, 10 looks like it's good for you, 12 looks like it's what you need, yay, and try to expect that you're going to enjoy that time, which you probably still would, but you still have the pressure of the timeline and a clock. And are we going to be able to get everything done? Because it does linger in the back of your mind, even though you think that, okay, we should be good, there's always going to be that little voice in your head that's like, man, I hope we have enough time. So I've eliminated that. It is now true full day coverage, where I am there from the very beginning to the very end, whatever that looks like for you for your day, and we plan it around such. And your wedding day shouldn't feel like it's something that you're trying to rush through, right? Like, you want to experience it. So basically, with all that said, if you plan your timeline correctly, work with your photographer to go over everything, use a true full day wedding experience, your day is not going to feel rushed. It's not going to feel like you're being pressured to just push through the day and get it done. You're going to be able to live it. So if you're here in Connecticut and you're looking to have a timeline that completely lets you experience the day and not live by whatever this piece of paper says on your timeline with hourly constraints, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link below in the description. And if you want, go ahead and reach out. And if this was helpful to you, consider sticking around. I'm going to be putting out a lot more tips and videos like this each and every week.